Collision course. Sofia Vasquez tapped her baton against her palm, a nervous habit she'd developed over years of conducting. Tonight wasn't about orchestras, though. The San Francisco Arts Foundation Gala demanded a different kind of performance, one involving small talk and soliciting donations rather than guiding musicians through Tchaikovsky. Another glass, Miss Vasquez? A server appeared with champagne. Please. She accepted gratefully, scanning the opulent hotel ballroom. These events were necessary evils for securing funding for the Vasquez Family Music Hall, the century-old venue her grandfather had purchased in the 1970s after immigrating from Venezuela. Across the room, a man stood alone by the windows, his attention on the city lights rather than the glittering crowd. Something about his stillness amid the bustling gala caught her attention. Tall, with sharp features and dark hair touched with silver at the temples, he radiated the kind of quiet intensity Sofia recognized from master musicians, complete focus, even in silence. When he turned, catching her gaze, Sofia didn't look away. Instead, she raised her glass slightly. Challenge accepted. Dominic Foster hadn't planned to attend tonight's gala. As CEO of Nexus Innovations, he typically sent his PR team to these functions, but his newest board member, Patricia Wellington, had insisted he make an appearance. Tech has an image problem, Dom, she'd said. Show them you're not just algorithms and acquisitions. So here he stood, counting the minutes until he could reasonably leave, when he noticed a woman watching him. Her wild curls were pulled into a loose arrangement that seemed ready to escape at any moment, unlike the carefully composed smiles. Around her, her expression was openly curious. When she raised her glass, something unexpected happened. Dominic felt himself smile back. I don't believe we've met, he approached, extending his hand. Dominic. Sofia. Her handshake was firm. Just Dominic? No last name? Very mysterious. Sometimes anonymity is refreshing. And you? Just Sofia? Tonight, yes. Her eyes sparkled. Tomorrow I'll be Maestra Vasquez again, terrifying violinists who miss their cues. You're a conductor, and you're observant. She grinned. What brings you to an arts gala? You don't strike me as someone who frequents these events. Is it that obvious? You've checked your watch 3 times in 5 minutes? Dominic laughed. Guilty. I'm here because apparently my company needs to humanize its image. Ah, so corporate world. Let me guess, tech. Is that also obvious? San Francisco? Good suit? Slight disdain for networking? It wasn't a difficult deduction. For the next hour, they circled the room together, creating a private game of observing the other guests. Sofia's commentary was sharp and witty, making Dominic laugh more than he had in months. The gentleman by the Shrimpies conducted 3 business deals and eaten 17 shrimp. I've been counting. Later, as the evening wound down, they found themselves on the terrace. Strange, Dominic said, I came tonight expecting tedium. And instead you got me, Sofia finished with a smile. Much more entertaining. Would you have dinner with me tomorrow? Sofia hesitated only briefly. Yes, but fair warning, I'm not what most people would call ... conventional, I noticed. It's precisely why I'm asking. What neither mentioned was what they'd each recognized in the other, passionate dedication to their work that left little room for relationships. Yet something about their connection felt worth exploring as they exchanged numbers. Neither had any idea that across town, Dominic's company was finalizing plans to purchase and demolish the historic block that housed the Vasquez family music, all the heart of Sofia's world and her family's legacy. Discord and harmony, the restaurant Lumiere buzzed with elegant conversation and the gentle clink of fine china. Sofia arrived 15 minutes late, her hair still damp from rushing home after rehearsal. She spotted Dominic immediately immaculate, in a charcoal suit, checking his emails with focused attention. Sorry I'm late, she said, sliding into the seat across from him. Dvorak waits for no woman. Oh. Dominic looked up, and his serious expression softened. I've heard he can be quite demanding. You have no idea. We're preparing for the summer showcase. 6 weeks to perfection. She picked up the menu. I hope you haven't been waiting long. Worth the wait, he replied, setting his phone face down. I took the liberty of ordering wine. Over dinner, they discovered unexpected common ground. Both had lost parents, young Sophia's mother to cancer when she was 12. Dominic's father to a heart attack during his college years. Both had shouldered family responsibilities early. My grandfather needed help with the music hall, Sophia explained, twirling pasta on her fork. I conducted my first community orchestra at 19. I stepped into my father's software company at 22, Dominic said. It was struggling then, 3 employees in a basement office. And now, Nexus. Innovations. We've grown. Sophia's eyes widened. Wait, Nexus. The tech giant? I wouldn't call us giants yet, but we're getting there. He studied her changed expression. Is something wrong? She hesitated. No, it's just bigger than I expected, but she didn't say. Nexus had been in the news for aggressive expansion. In the Mission District, exactly where her family's music hall stood, their conversation continued. But Sophia felt a new wariness. Still, she couldn't deny their connection as the evening progressed. Dominic listened intently when she spoke about music, not the polite attention she usually received, but genuine interest. Music is mathematics made beautiful, he said, surprising. My mother played cello. 3 dinner dates became 6. Sophia introduced Dominic to hidden jazz clubs and street musicians she admired. He showed her the view from his company's rooftop and the small coding projects he still worked on late at night to stay sharp. After a symphony performance Dominic attended, he waited backstage with a single red dahlia, her favorite, remembered from a casual mention weeks earlier. You were magnificent, he said simply, that night. In his minimalist penthouse overlooking the bay, their relationship deepened. Oh! Afterward, watching dawn break through floor-to-ceiling windows, Sophia traced patterns on his chest. You're nothing. Like I expected, she murmured. What did you expect? Someone colder? More calculating? I can be, he admitted. But not with you. The collision came unexpectedly one Tuesday morning. Sophia was reviewing sheet music in her office at the hall, when her cousin Javier burst in. Have you seen this? He thrust a newspaper at her. They're moving forward with the purchase offers. The headline jumped out. Nexus Innovations begins acquisition of Mission Arts block for new campus. Sophia's blood ran cold as she scanned. The article, there was Dominic's photo, his expression confident as he described the project that would revitalize an underutilized area. Underutilized. The word stung. The music hall that hosted community concerts, children's programs, and provided rehearsal space for dozens of local groups, reduced to underutilized. That evening, Dominic arrived at her apartment with takeout, surprised to find her waiting. With the newspaper, are you ever going to mention that your company plans to demolish my family's music hall? Her voice was steady, controlled her conductor's voice. Dominic went still. Your family owns the Vasquez Music Hall. That Vasquez? 4 generations. My great-grandfather's name is on the cornerstone. He set down the food bags. Sophia, I didn't know. The acquisitions team handles the details. I knew we were developing in the Mission District, but you didn't bother to learn what you were destroying. Her hands trembled slightly. Hall isn't just a building, Dominic. It's heritage, community, purpose. We're offering above-market value to all property owners. Some things aren't for sale. The silence between them stretched, filled with the dissonance of 2 worlds colliding. 2 visions of the future, reincalable, yet bound by feelings neither had expected to develop. I should go, he finally said. Yes, Sophia agreed, even as everything in her wanted him to stay, to figure this out. You should. After he left, she sat at her piano, fingers hovering over the keys without playing. The universe had a twisted sense of humor, making her fall for the very man threatening everything she'd dedicated her life to preserving. Diminuendo and Distance, the headline in the San Francisco Chronicle read, Tech CEO and conductor create harmony. Nexus Innovation Center to incorporate historic Vasquez Hall. The accompanying photo showed Sophia and Dominic standing before the music hall, architectural plans visible between them. Their professional smiles revealed nothing of their personal connection, but whispers spread quickly. "She's sleeping with the enemy," Sophia overheard a violist say during rehearsal break. The musician flushed when she realized Sophia had heard. "Not the enemy," Sophia corrected coolly. "A partner with different priorities. My personal life isn't relevant to our preparation for Thursday's performance." Meanwhile, Dominic faced skepticism from shareholders concerned about the modified development plans. The collaborative space would take longer to complete and require additional investment. During a particularly tense investor call, someone directly questioned his objectivity. "Is Nexus making business decisions based on the CEO's romantic entanglements?" "Decisions are based on long-term vision," Dominic replied evenly. "Creating community goodwill and cultural capital alongside technological innovation positions us uniquely in the market." But the pressure mounted on both sides. Sophia's grandfather, Eduardo Vasquez, initially supported her alternative plan until learning about her relationship with Dominic. "You trust him?" the 8-year-old demanded, his accent thickening with emotion. "Men like him change their minds when the numbers don't add up." "He's not what you think," Sophia insisted. "He's exactly what I think a businessman, and you're risking our legacy on pillow talk." The hurt in her grandfather's eyes stayed with her, a constant shadow even as she worked closely with Dominic and the Nexus team on the integration plans. Their professional interactions remained focused and productive, but strain crept into their personal time. One night, after reviewing zoning documents until midnight, Dominic noticed Sophia's distraction. "What is it?" he asked, reaching for her hand across his dining table covered in blueprints. "The orchestra board questioned my commitment today," she admitted. "They're considering replacing me for the international tour next spring. 'Cause of us. Because they think I'm compromised. That I'll prioritize the Nexus partnership over artistic integrity." Dominic tensed. "And your grandfather still refuses to meet with me?" "He says he'll consider it when he sees actual construction preserving the hall, not just promises." She sighed. "I believe in what we're creating, but everyone seems determined to make us choose sides." Situation deteriorated when preliminary construction revealed structural issues with the music hall's foundation. Issues that significantly increased renovation costs. Dominic's financial team recommended scrapping the preservation elements entirely. "It's not financially sound," his CFO insisted during a private meeting. "We could build a replica elsewhere for less than rehabilitating the original." "A replica doesn't have history," Dominic argued. "History doesn't pay dividends," came the cold reply. That weekend, instead of their planned getaway to Napa, Dominic became unreachable, immersed in finding financial solutions. When he finally called Sophia Sunday night, she could hear the exhaustion in his voice. "Board's called an emergency meeting tomorrow. The foundation issues have them spooked." "Are they pulling out of our agreement?" Her voice was tight with anxiety. "I'm fighting for it, but I need to focus completely on this right now." The unspoken request hung between them space, distance. A step back from their relationship while he navigated this crisis. "I understand," she said, though her heart contracted painfully. "Do what you need to do." For 3 weeks, they barely spoke. Sophia threw herself into preparation for her potentially final season with the orchestra. Dominic worked around the clock, structuring finances and seeking additional investors who believed in the integrated vision. Rumors circulated that Nexus was abandoning the collaborative approach. When construction temporarily halted, community groups began organizing protests. Sophia found herself in an impossible position, able to defend plans she wasn't privy to, yet still associated with them. The breaking point came during a community meeting where Sophia stood alone before angry neighbors and musicians, trying to assure them that the project was still moving forward. "Where's your boyfriend and his promises now?" someone called out. Before she could respond, the back door opened. Dominic entered, looking like he hadn't slept in days, accompanied by Patricia Wellington and an older gentleman Sophia didn't recognize. "I apologize for our absence and the construction delay." Dominic addressed the crowd directly. "We've been securing additional funding to properly address the structural challenges while maintaining our commitment to preserving the hall." He introduced the older gentleman, Warren Henderson, a prominent philanthropist and new investor. As they outlined the revised plans, Sophia felt a complex mixture of relief and hurt. The project was saved, but Dominic had shut her out completely during the crisis. After the meeting, they finally found themselves alone in her small office. "Could have told me," she said quietly. "I've been defending you while knowing nothing. Couldn't risk getting your hopes up until it was certain." He reached for her, but she stepped back. "That wasn't your decision to make. We're either partners in this all of it or we're not. I was trying to protect you. I don't need protection, Dominic. I need honesty, even when it's difficult. Especially then." The distance between them felt greater than the physical space. Both recognized a fundamental difference in how they approached challenges, he by withdrawing to solve problems alone, she by gathering her community closer. "I don't know how to do this differently," he admitted finally. "When there's a crisis, I focus exclusively on solutions, and people become secondary," she finished for him. "That works for business, perhaps. It doesn't work for love." Symphony of compromise winter rain pattered against the windows of Dominic's office as he reviewed the quarterly reports. The Mission District project, now called Crescendo Innovation Center, was 6 months into construction. The preserved facade of the Vasquez Music Hall stood proudly amid modern glass additions, a visual metaphor for the collaboration that had nearly cost him everything that mattered. Patricia entered with coffee, studying his distracted expression. "The numbers look good. We're actually ahead of projections for community engagement." "She would be pleased about that," he said quietly. Patricia set down her tablet. "Have you called her yet?" "She's in Vienna until next week. International tour." "Phones. Work internationally, you know." Dominic smiled slightly. "She said she needed space to focus on the orchestra. I'm respecting that." Patricia hummed skeptically. "And how's that working for either of you?" The truth was, it wasn't. Since their confrontation 3 months ago, Sophia and Dominic had maintained professional contact regarding the project, but stepped back from their relationship. Both threw themselves into work, he into ensuring the center's success, she into preparing for the tour that had almost been taken from her. Their last conversation before her departure had been civil, but strained. Dominic had driven her to the airport, her cello case taking up most of his car's back seat. "I'll send updates on the construction," he'd promised as they reached the terminal. "Thank you." She'd hesitated, then added, "I'm glad we saved it, Dominic. Whatever else happened between us," now watching rain trace patterns down glass, Dominic made a decision. "Cancel my meetings tomorrow? All of them? There's the investor lunch. All of them. And book me on a flight to Vienna. 20 hours. Later, he stood in the grand foyer of the Musikverein, surrounded by ornate gold decor and centuries of musical history. The evening's program listed the San Francisco Philharmonic, performing Mahler's Fifth Symphony, Sofia Vasquez, conducting the familiar flutter of anticipation rose as the lights dimmed. When Sophia took the stage in a midnight blue gown, the audience applauded politely. Only Dominic noticed the tiny hesitation when she spotted him in the third row. Then she raised her baton. Oh, nothing else mattered but the music. Mahler's symphony. Moved from funeral march to passionate declaration to, finally, a triumphant affirmation of life. Watching Sophia guide the orchestra through these emotional landscapes, Dominic understood what she'd been trying to tell him months ago. Some things couldn't be controlled or solved alone. They had to be experienced. Shared, conducted rather than dictated. Afterward, he waited by the artist's entrance, a single red dahlia in hand. When she emerged, still flushed with adrenaline, her step faltered. "Dominic, what are you doing in Vienna? Learning to do things differently?" He offered the flower. The performance was extraordinary. She accepted the dahlia, her expression guarded. "You flew across the world to tell me that—" "No, I flew across the world to tell you I've been wrong, about how to handle problems, about shutting you out when things got difficult." He took a breath. "I've spent my life believing efficiency meant handling challenges alone. You showed me there's strength in transparency and facing difficulties together." Round them, musicians and audience members streamed. Passed, but neither noticed. The construction is going well, she said carefully. I didn't come to talk about the project. Then what? Us. If there still isn't us. Sophia studied him for a long moment. My grandfather finally visited the construction site last week. Said you'd honored your word. I try to. He also said stubborn people often make the most committed partners once they learn to bend. Hope flickered in Dominic's chest. Wise man. I've missed you, she admitted finally. Even while I was angry, I've missed you every day. He gestured to the street outside. Would you have dinner with me? We have a lot to catch up on. I have a better idea. Shh, she smiled. The first real smile he'd seen from her in months. There's a midnight concert in a small church nearby. It's local musicians, nothing fancy. Very different from all this. She nodded toward the opulent concert hall. Would you come with me? Lead the way. As they walked through Vienna's rainy streets, Sophia slipped her hand into his. You know, a conductor doesn't just direct the music. Their real job is to listen to hear what each section needs, to understand how all the parts create something greater together. I'm learning to listen, Dominic promised. It's not my natural instinct, but I'm learning. In the small stone church, they sat among locals and tourists as a string quartet played. The setting was humble after the grandeur of the music varying, but the music soared just as beautifully. Halfway through a Schubert piece, Dominic leaned close to whisper in Sophia's ear. Your grandfather was right about stubborn people. I've already started redesigning my approach to everything, not just us, but how Nexus operates. More transparency, more collaboration. Growth looks good on you, she whispered back. 6 months later, the Crescendo Innovation Center opened with a gala that brought together tech innovators and musicians, community activists, and corporate investors. The redesigned concert hall maintained its historical character while incorporating cutting-edge acoustics and technology. Dominic and Sophia stood together on the stage where her great-grandfather had first conducted immigrant musicians seeking connection in a new country. I never imagined this outcome when I saw your company's name in that newspaper, Sophia admitted as they surveyed the elegant space, now filled with celebration. And I never imagined this outcome when Patricia insisted I attend an arts gala. Dominic smiled. Oh, I think she's quite pleased with herself now. Across the room, Patricia raised her champagne glass in acknowledgement. Later that evening, after speeches and performances celebrated the unique partnership, Dominic led Sophia to the rooftop garden that crowned the new building. The San Francisco skyline sparkled around them. There's one more feature I didn't include in the tours, said, guiding her to a secluded corner where a small plaque was mounted on a wall. Sophia read the inscription aloud. The truest symphonies emerge from contrasting themes, finding harmony. Dominic Foster and Sophia Vasquez, 2025. Too sentimental. He asked. Perfect, she said, reaching up to kiss him. Just like the dissonance that led us here. Together. They'd created something neither could have built alone, a physical space that honored history while embracing the future, and a relationship that did the same. Their symphony was still being composed, note by note, day by day. Sometimes discordant, often challenging, but always ultimately finding its way back to harmony. Crescendo of truth for 2 weeks. Sophia threw herself into preparing for the summer showcase, channeling her heartbreak into Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony. The music's themes of fate and struggle felt painfully appropriate, her musicians noticed. The change her typically precise direction now carried an emotional intensity that both inspired and unnerved them. You're conducting like a woman possessed, her concertmaster Julian commented during a break. Good, this piece demands possession. She shuffled her score pages, avoiding his concerned gaze. Meanwhile, Dominic found himself unable to focus on the Mission District project. The development team was confused by his sudden demand for extensive reviews of all properties involved. Patricia Wellington watched him with growing concern. This isn't like you, she said after he postponed signing the final acquisition approvals. You've never hesitated on expansion before. Dominic stared out his office window. Maybe that's the problem. His assistant interrupted with a courier delivery, a single ticket to the Vasquez Music Hall's summer showcase. No note attached. Dominic's pulse quickened. That night, he sat in the back row as Sophia took the stage. Her crimson dress caught the lights as she raised her baton, commanding absolute silence before the first notes. Watching her transform from the woman he knew into this figure of absolute authority made his chest tighten. The symphony began quietly, then built to moments of near-chaotic intensity before finding resolution. Dominic understood the message she was sending through Tchaikovsky's composition: passion, conflict, and the inescapable hand of fate. After the performance, he waited in the lobby until the crowd thinned. When Sophia emerged, still flushed from conducting, their eyes met across the ornate space. She approached slowly. "You came," she said simply. "Your playing delivered quite a message." "Did you hear it clearly?" There was challenge in her voice. "That some battles are worth fighting?" "Yes, I heard it." He gestured around them. "Show me." She raised an eyebrow. "Show you what?" "Everything this place means. Make me understand." For the next hour, Sophia led him through the music hall past the practice rooms where children learned their first notes, through the community spaces where elderly musicians gathered weekly, into the archives where programs dating back to 1925 were carefully preserved. She showed him the wall of photographs, immigrants finding connection through music, civil rights concerts from the 1960s, celebrations and memorials marking the community's history. "This isn't just about performances," she explained, passion warming her voice. "It's about belonging. Some of these children have nowhere else that's truly theirs. Some of these seniors would be completely isolated without our programs." In the empty auditorium, she positioned him center stage. "Stand here. Feel it." Dominic closed his eyes. The silence held something decades of music. Applause, tears, laughter, all absorbed into the very walls. "I understand," he said finally, "but my board won't. They see real estate values, future returns, expansion necessities. Then they need better vision." Sophia stepped closer. "And you need to decide what kind of legacy you're building, Dominic. Bigger isn't always better." Their conversation lasted until dawn. Moving from the hall to a 24-hour diner where they shared coffee and possibilities, by morning, something had shifted, both in their relationship and in Dominic's thinking about the project. "I can't promise anything," he warned as they parted, exhausted but reconnected. "I'm not asking for promises," she replied. "Just for you to see beyond spreadsheets." 2 days later, the board meeting to finalize the Mission District acquisitions was interrupted when Sophia walked in unannounced, carrying architectural renderings. "Ms. Vasquez," Dominic acknowledged her with professional calm that didn't reach his eyes. "This is a closed meeting." "I'm aware," she said confidently, setting her materials on the table. "But since you're discussing the future of my family's property, I thought you might want to consider an alternative vision." Board members exchanged glances as she unveiled her proposal: a collaborative space where technology and arts could coexist. A redesigned music hall with state-of-the-art facilities that Nexus could use for events and innovation showcases. Community programs that would bring tech education to underserved populations. "Your company wants to be seen as more than algorithms and acquisitions," she said, echoing Patricia's words to Dominic. "This is your opportunity." After she left, the boardroom erupted in debate. Patricia studied Dominic's expression carefully. "You knew she was coming," she stated rather than asked. "I suspected she might have something to say." "The question is," Patricia continued, "are you championing this alternative because it has merit or because of her?" Dominic met her gaze directly. "Does it matter if the outcome is better for everyone?" That evening, he appeared at Sophia's door. "You ambushed my board meeting?" "Yes." She didn't apologize. "It was brilliant," he admitted, a smile finally breaking through. "Patricia wants to meet with your team next week." Relief washed over her face. "Really? Really?" He stepped closer. "But there's something we need to address first." "What's that?" "Us. Because if we're going to create something together, professionally, I need to know where we stand personally." Sophia reached for his hand. "I think we stand together. If you're brave enough to try." "I crashed 3 servers when I was nervous about our first date," he confessed. "I'm clearly already in too deep to turn back now."